All right, you guys. So, as you know, Wes Watson was arrested. Now, details are coming out, including the charges that he's facing. And I wanted to bring on somebody who knows more about the prison system, someone who can help us break this all down in a way that actually makes sense because I know nothing about the prison system. So, today I'm going to be joined by a creator and friend that goes by the name of JD Delay on YouTube. You guys probably already know of him. He needs no introduction. But what makes this even more relevant and a reason I feel like he can give us some really good insight is because he is actually from Florida where this all took place. So he can really help us, go through all these charges and explain what this means legally and what this could realistically look like for Wes moving forward. Hello, everybody. Today we have JD here to help us sift through these charges and explain them to us. Thank you so much, JD, for coming on. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. It's good to be here with you, Wells. So we're talking about Wes Watson. He's got himself in a huge mess. I personally have experience with the Florida criminal justice system. I actually was a drug addict for 20 years, and Florida criminal justice system helped me to get clean. They saved my life. They offered me treatment while I was on pretrial. So Florida can be cool if you have a certain type of charges and you actually want to change your life and you want to get clean. The type of charges that Wes has, he's not going to have any wiggle room. These are crazy charges, Danielle.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because we know he's not doing very well. What's it going to be like? Is he, because we know he's going to have a gnarly come down from what it looks like. Do they give him anything? Is he going to have a hard time with that?
So look, I believe, and I could be wrong. I'm a recovery coach and I work with people who have substance use issues. My take on it is that he's on stimulants. I believe that he's on cocaine and meth. Yeah. We've seen some evidence that he's into powders, and it definitely seems like an up, not a down. There's not anything they can really do for you when you're locked up for that. And I don't think that he would cop to it. I don't think that he's going to be asking for any type of detox or anything. Normally, every time that I've ever dried out, it requires cuffs for me. And God has luckily brought in law enforcement to intervene at times in my life where I don't believe I would have made it if it hadn't happened. So he's going to have a really rough come down in jail. Jail's not a pleasant place to come down, but you're taken away from any availability to be able to get anything. So he's going to have a rough few days. I think we'll probably get video sometime very soon of the hearing that he probably had this morning. If he didn't see a judge this morning, he'll see a judge tomorrow morning for sure. And there's about zero chance they're going to let him out because keep in mind, he's already on a pretrial bond release on these other charges, which is a felony assault and a felony aggravated assault, which is the aggravated is a huge factor in this. It adds a lot of time to it. And he has another aggravated assault. We're going to get into these charges, but it's like what he did before, but way worse and way more. And so there's not really a chance that the judge is going to let him out on this. He's going to be sitting in county jail until he concludes both of these cases. And I don't see any way he's going to get out of these, but strange things happen. I think he's going to prison. That would be my prediction. And I think he's going to prison for a really long time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but that's kind of what he deserves. But let's get into these charges because I'm so curious. I obviously don't know anything about prison, much less, Florida prison system. So I know you have experience with that, which is why I'm so excited to ask you about this. Let's get into this. Should I bring Wes's ugly mug on here?
Yeah, if you could bring him up, that would be great.
Okay. All right.
So first off, what you guys are going to notice is if you saw his last mugshot, he's really gone downhill. He has lost a lot of weight. He's looking like he just stepped out of Auschwitz right here. His full name is Wesley Thomas Watson. This mugshot looks really bad. For some reason, he decided on the streets he was going to get a teardrop tattoo, which for those of you who don't know, a teardrop signifies that you have killed somebody. That's going to not present super well in court.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that actually. Like, why would he choose to do that? And is that a smart move to do before you go to prison?
It really isn't, but nothing that he's done presents intelligence, tact, or any type of convict ethos or ethic. Literally the dude, it's not a bad charge to get in a fight with another dude, even with the jumping, even with the using weapons, he called the dude out. Dude came down to the gym to face off with him, and they did the dude really dirty, but none of that is going to get him in trouble with the convict code and when he hits the yard in prison. These charges, though, domestic violence, people don't like that in prison. If you go into prison with charges involving women or children, people assume you're a bully. They assume you're a punk. You have to realize a lot of these dudes in there grew up watching their mom get beat on, it's just really looked down on. So he's going to have a rough run with this, especially, the judge is going to look at this dude and the judge is going to be like, you're a fucking nightmare, bro. We're going to hold on to you. And if you look down, he did to him a pretty big solid. Let's see, where is it? I don't see his actual details on here, but I did see somewhere earlier that they actually marked him at 6 foot, which is a big deal. Not a big deal to anybody else, but everybody knows he's 5'8". I'm just here to tell you that when they arrest you, they just ask you what your height is. Like they don't like, they're not going to be like, okay, we're going to hold up a tape measure and don't stand on your tippy toes. Like they just like, how tall are you? You just go in and you're like, yeah, I'm 6 foot. So, but at least he's got it marked. 6 foot. Yeah, it's going to be a big deal for him that he got that because he's super insecure about it. So this first charge that we're looking at is robbery by sudden snatching without firearm or weapon. And since you actually have a better grip than I do on how this whole thing went down, it sounds to me, would this be him taking the phone or him taking the ring back? Do you know what that would be?
I really don't know. It could have been either one. I don't know.
Well, we do know that he took the phone because he's actually charged with it. And just so you guys know, if you take somebody's phone in a situation like this, that is a really big deal. It's a really big deal to inhibit somebody from their ability to contact law enforcement. You are getting yourself in a lot of trouble. So this robbery by sudden snatching, just so you know, robbery is a person-to-person crime. That's considered a violent crime. So there is a potential of 5 years on this one. And as you see, he has zero bond on any of these because he's being held on no bond. The second one is felony battery. It's also a violent crime. And that's pretty straightforward. There's a possibility of 5 years on that one. The aggravated assault with attempt to commit felony dating violence is another assault. And basically it's the same thing, except it has aggravating factors because it was a woman. So this is a domestic violence charge right here. It's a much bigger deal. There's a lot more that can be involved with that type of thing. Definite potential for, at least 5 years on that. This one down here, the tampering with hindering, delaying, etc., with communication to L, which stands for law enforcement. That means that he took her phone. And that is tantamount. It's considered tantamount to like kidnapping. For an adult taking their phone, not allowing them to call the police, that's inhibiting their ability to be able to leave, their ability to be able to get help. And you'll see right below that is false imprisonment of a person. So basically what they're saying with these two charges is that he kidnapped them. But the tampering, hindering charge of taking the phone actually carries up to 15 years. And the false imprisonment of a person carries up to 5 years. So there's a potential right here of a minimum of 15 or 30 years God. If they want to stack them. Now
on
they
top
don't
of the other thing, right?
On top of the other case. Now I'll say this, they don't often give you the maximum sentence and then hit you consecutively. Normally they'll be like, okay, we're gonna, these two charges are both relating to kidnapping, so we're going to run them concurrent, which means that while you're serving, 5 years on this and 10 years on this, we're going to run them at the same time. So you're really only serving 10 years. They're not stacking it. These two are the assault. So, we'll run those at the same time. If you get 5 years on both of those, it's only another 5 years. And then the robbery, it all depends on if the judge is having a good day. It depends on your attitude. It depends on if you have been cooperative. It depends on if you, have done a Wes Watson in the courtroom. And what we know about Wes Watson's behavior in courtrooms is that he is an absolute train wreck. He's literally threatened the opposing team's counsel and their family in the lawsuit that he's facing right now.
Yeah.
He has the right to remain silent, but he has never once shown the ability to not, come out and say slurs, curse, say, I don't give a fuck about this judge. So the chance of him making this situation a lot worse than it needs to be for himself, especially in the condition that he's in, is astronomical.
Now, JD, I do know that he did drag her body as well. So could that be like the kidnapping charge? Is that why? Huh?
Oh, absolutely. It could be as simple as blocking a door and not letting somebody leave, but to physically drag somebody, especially a woman. I mean, come on, you guys need to realize this was a woman that was much smaller, much younger.
So much smaller. Oh my God.
She had just gone through surgery.
Yeah.
She's a sweet woman.
So sweet.
Innocent, probably had no idea what she was getting herself involved with this dude. Probably had never had this type of experience with a drug-induced demon before.
No.
This is really traumatic shit for a young lady, and my heart goes out to her.
Me too. And he allegedly tried to also get her involved in the shit he was involved in, get her to do drugs and stuff. And that's the reason why she kept leaving him, is what I heard. It's because she didn't want to be around that, and then he would freak out. But because I was going to ask you, I did hear that dragging a body could be kidnapping, but then I thought, him holding her hostage was the false imprisonment part, right?
Well, it's holding somebody hostage and dragging them would be around the same thing as far as the kidnapping charge. I know that, didn't he physically strike her? Isn't that what happened to her face?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that would be the assault and the domestic violence. They may have stacked this to what they think they could actually win. They might not have wanted to overload him with too many charges.
Why not? Why would they not want to do that?
Well, and this might not be where the charges actually land in the end. They might take it to a grand jury, and they might offer a grand jury other charges that could be presented to the grand jury, and the grand jury could be like, hit him with everything. Just depending on what evidence they have, what the witness, the victim has said, what any witnesses might say. This could land bigger than what we're actually seeing at the moment. Right now, this is kind of just what they've arrested him on. His charges, they could also take away charges. You just never know. Grand juries can be surprising sometimes in these cases.
Wow. Now, is Florida any tougher or any different than, because I live in California, how is it different from other states? Are they tougher on these types of charges?
Yeah, no. Okay. I grew up in California, and I did my prison time in Oregon. The West Coast is known for being real easy on crime. Florida is not.
I know.
Florida is definitely not. And, big shout out to them. I think that when you're being merciful to people that are victimizing the community, you're enabling the community to be victimized, and you're furthering, criminality. I love that Florida's tough on crime. I can't wait to move back there. They're not going to be easy on this dude. This is not going to end well for him. And I don't think that he has I think that he thinks he's invincible. Yeah. This dude did a little bit of time. He went in California, was there for a few months, got shipped out to Arizona under really sketchy circumstances. Mm-hmm. Nobody seems to know why he got shipped to Arizona to do his time. That's crazy. But I think that he's sort of slid so far. And also we need to bring up the fact that when we're looking at these charges, the first one here is a robbery. That's what he went to prison for in California. So he already has violent robbery on his record.
And he did 10 years for, right?
What's that?
That he did the supposed 10 years for, but it was really only like 7, right? 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But what a judge is going to see, and what a jury will see if he decides to testify on his own behalf. Mm-hmm. If he testifies on his own behalf, they can look at his criminal record because it goes to his credibility as a witness. They might be able to keep his record out of it if he doesn't testify on his own behalf, but I don't think he really has a case unless he testifies on his own behalf in a situation like this. It's a pretty he said, she said sort of situation. She has physical evidence.
Yeah.
As far as pictures of her wounds. I don't know that he really has a leg to stand on without getting on the witness stand. And oh my God, would that be messy?
I
Imagine Wes
know.
trying to
No,
defend
no.
himself in front of a judge and a jury when a prosecutor is trying to piss him off, because that's what the prosecutor is going to do. They're going to see this dude, they're going to investigate him, they're going to look at his content, they're going to go, this dude is a 100% lit fuse, and they're going to try to light that fuse. And I don't think he's going to be able to not step in shit on that.
Right.
He's going to
It's so easy. It's so easy to, get them all worked up. It's way too easy. I wanted to ask you, does public or, internet fame, is that going to affect how he's treated in prison, or are people not going to like him because of the things he has said? I mean, I feel like they wouldn't, but are people going to try to extort him? Would you think, or use him, for money or anything like that?
Well, here's the thing: is there's different levels of notoriety. And with Wes doesn't have good notoriety. Wes is known as a fucking clown. He's known, for lying about his prison experience, trying to project himself as a tough guy and a bully. And there's one thing they hate in prison: it's somebody who's a fucking bully. Also, he has open green lights, SOSs, whether that be a smash on site or a stab on site, from white supremacist gangs in the state of California.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say
he's a known liar.
Florida. Okay,
yeah. Well, in California, they have the gangs have a hit out on him.
Really? Now, I heard that, but I didn't know if it was true.
Well, that's actually why he left California and he's in Florida right now. They don't like that he's lying, stealing their stories, involving them in his bullshit. It's very disrespectful the way that he's presented himself to these organizations. So they, put green lights out on him, which means if you see him, it's a go. And so that's in California though. And those gangs don't exist in the state of Florida. They're very regional. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But they have a mutual respect with the white supremacist organization in the state of Florida. And there's only one. They're very powerful. They're very violent. They're known for their brutality. And they have sort of a want to bridge a relationship between the California cars and them. So I have spoken to an active member who has told me 100% they plan on respecting the green light SOS on Wes, and that if he shows up on a yard with any of them, which they're on every yard at this point, there's
in Florida
about okay. There's documentaries about the rise of these guys. And it's my understanding from the member that I spoke to that they're going to honor that green light and that they're going to take flight on him as soon as they see him. So, he'll probably get either beat up or stabbed. It'll probably happen repeatedly. They're going to take anything that he has. They're going to see him as a bank account. They're going to probably, beat him up, stab him a few times, get him in a cell, have him kidnapped in a cell, take a cell phone to him, have him log into his bank accounts, have him ship the money from his bank account to their bank accounts. Shit like that is generally how that works nowadays in prison. It can get really brutal. They might.
But you don't think they'll kill him?
All splintered in places you don't want that to go. Prison is not a good place.
You don't think they'll kill him?
I find it more likely that they'll just use him until he's dry.
Yeah.
And then he'll just be like a pariah. He'll be like an outsider. He might have the possibility after they've completely drained him of trying to win some sort of respect back on the yard to where he can at least walk the yard and, not have to hang his head in shame. But it really all depends on how he carries himself. If he takes his beating, if he tries to fight back, if he doesn't act like a punk, if he doesn't back down, then he has a chance at, establishing some respect after they've gotten what they want out of him. But it's going to be a really brutal road for him. The other thing you have to understand is that in Florida, out here on the West Coast, you worry more about the other gang members than you do the correctional officers. In Florida, the biggest gang in the prison system is the correctional officers.
Really?
And they will come into your cell at 4 a.m, 5, 6 deep, and they'll beat the fucking dog shit out of you, bro.
Jeez,
they'll drag you. They'll cuff you up and beat the shit out of you. They don't care.
For no reason?
What's that?
For no reason?
Well, here's the thing is, you know, they don't like people that think that they're a big deal, which Wes does. They don't like people with a bad attitude, which Wes is not going to be able to hide. Wes is the poster child for isn't going to fucking make it in Florida. Sorry about my language, but that just is what it is. He's the last type of dude who's going to do well in the Florida prison system. And I've been saying this for a while over on my channel. But he's not going to be able to acclimate very well. He's going to take some brutal beatings. And the sooner that he learns to shut the fuck up, curb his attitude, and accept that he ain't shit in there, the better he's going to do.
Well, you know, unfortunately, I am not wishing him a great time in there. I'm not, you know, hoping it's a party for him. But I feel like at the center of this, I keep having to remember like Megan, because I feel like I get so lost in Wes's drama. Just in case she is watching this and she might be afraid that Wes has some sort of pull on the outside, that he is this big gangster mobster guy. If she's afraid of something like that, he doesn't have pull like that, right?
No, dude, like Wes barely has friends anymore. Yeah. He's screwed over everyone in his life. I think he has like Jose and a bodyguard, and that bodyguard goes away the second that the payments go away. Jose is not going to stay loyal to him. I mean, I'm sure that they've been intimate and made coitus with each other a few times. You know, forgive the mental image. But Jose's not going to do anything. That dude's not about that life. Megan is going to be safe now that Wes is locked up. The worst thing she could possibly do is not pursue this. Also, you know, I would encourage her just personally to pursue a lawsuit against him, which the criminal case probably
I'm sorry, JD, you cut out for a second. Can you tell me that again?
Yeah, absolutely. I would recommend personally to Megan that she pursue a civil lawsuit as well. And the criminal case is going to help with the civil lawsuit. Now that he's locked up, he's out of road and he's not getting out. Even if she were to recant and try to drop these charges, he's already had that police contact. He's already been arrested. They're going to keep him in jail. Okay. So I know he's probably going to be desperate and trying to make moves and probably trying to contact her. There should be a no contact order in place at this point.
Yeah.
Anything he does, he's going to make this situation worse on himself. And it's too late at this point. He's sitting in jail for some shit. They're not letting him out. She should pursue this all the way to the bone.
For sure.
Because the longer that he's locked up, the more of an opportunity is for him to look inside himself and go, why am I such a piece of shit? How do I fix that? You know, and him being on the street clearly isn't safe. He's assaulted multiple people within a year. You know, he's clearly escalating towards violence, drugs, and insanity. And he's definitely earned not being on the streets for a very, very long time. If it was just two dudes fighting, I get that. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
You know, even this is different. Yeah, even the situation where they jumped the dude, like, cool, I get it. You're a pussy. You can't fight. The black dude scared you. He was taller than you. You're a short piece of shit. I get it. It's cool. But when you start beating on women and treating women like that, and I don't believe that it's the first time that he's beat on women for even a second. I believe his wife has come out and said that he was very physically abusive. This dude is a demon. Yeah. He's a piece of shit. He's a coward. He doesn't actually handle his business. And he doesn't need to be on the streets where he can hurt women and children anymore.
Yeah, absolutely not. Is he going to be allowed to call Jose or the bodyguard, anyone, and kind of like get his story straight? Because I know Jose may or may not, I don't know if he's going to have charges, but I'm just concerned that they're going to be talking and getting their story lined up, you know?
He will. He's had access to a phone pretty much immediately. And normally in Florida prisons, what they do is before they take your phone from you completely and log it into property, they'll, if you're not being a piece of shit, they'll let you get numbers off of your phone and write them down. So you have a couple numbers, because nobody memorizes numbers anymore. No. And so he's probably already contacted them, I would assume. The thing is that he is a volatile, emotive child in an adult's body. And he's strung out and not thinking properly. And he's probably already said too much over the phone. They record every single phone call. So anything that he said, if they try to get their story straight,
they're
he's
going to hear
fucking
it.
cooked. That's even bigger charges. Like, he would just be digging a bigger and bigger hole. And I'm not saying that he hasn't done that. I'm just saying it's not going to work. You can't go into prison and start calling dudes over prison phones, and expect that you're going to be able to manipulate the outcome or tell somebody to go, oh, go threaten that bitch, bro. Like, none of that's going to work. Or, hey, here's what I want you to say in court. That's not going to work either, dog. Unless somebody has like literally an iPhone up their ass and they let you use that, you're pretty much blocked from any communication that's not being recorded. And they do listen to all of that shit. And it will come up in court, and they will, like, the feds can show up and charge you for shit you say over those phones. I've seen it over and over and over again.
Well, how about his mommy, Sherry, commenting and messaging things to people on the internet? Is that allowed?
I mean, if there is a no contact order between Wes and Megan and his mom contacts on his behalf, that's absolutely against the law. That would be a violation, and Wes and her could both catch charges for it.
Interesting. Now, with his state of mind right now, because he's just so crazy, do you think he understands how serious this is? Because I feel like he never fully grasps his mouth. He never knows when to shut up. He never knows how deep of shit he's getting himself into. Do you think he grasps like the severity of this situation?
No, Wes thinks he's invincible. Clearly, Wes thinks that he's invincible. I don't think he's ever really fully felt the weight of his consequences. As somebody who's was a drug addict for a long time, Florida was the state that actually made me feel the weight of my consequences. I'm really glad that's where I got busted, because that's what I needed to find the desperation to change. I'm sure that maybe he's starting to get an inkling. He probably won't until he's completely sobered up and he's sitting in a cell and he realizes, holy shit, when I add all these charges up, there's a real reality. I'm going to get 50 years in prison. Like, that is not at all off the table.
You think so, JD?
What's that?
I said, do you think so? You think it could be that much?
I don't think he'll get that. I think realistically somewhere around 15 to 25 is realistic. Okay. But it's definitely a possibility if he continues to act out. If he goes into court and he acts the way that he's acted so far throughout what we've seen, Florida judges take that shit really personal. I've seen Florida judges hammer people. So if he goes in there and he acts nonchalant and lippy and irreverent, yeah, he could definitely be looking at they could give him 50 years if they wanted to. It's probably going to be lower than that. But, even that, I mean, if you're facing what's Wes, he's in his 40s. Yeah, he's in his 40s looking at getting out at 60 something. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It could really be that long, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, look, he's got,
not that he doesn't deserve it. He obviously deserves it. I'm not feeling sorry for the guy. I'm just saying that's crazy to think about.
He's got 5 charges right here that are all considered violent charges. He's got 2 pending charges that are violent charges. 2 of his charges have aggravated on them. That's a way that they, aggravated assault is way more serious than just a simple assault. So, for him to have this violent pattern and also already have a conviction for a violent robbery on his record, it's not looking good for Wes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is like assault versus aggravated assault? What's the difference?
So, like, let's take the gym case first off. The aggravating factor in that is that he used a weapon. We clearly see that he used a weight belt. When he originally he hits the dude in the face with the weight belt. Anything that you use besides your fists is considered a weapon. So that's what aggravates that. I'm honestly shocked that no one else has been charged from that incident. They really should be. But it looks like they're focusing on Wes. So, he was the ringleader. It is what it is. And the aggravating factor, as you can see right here, is dating violence. It's that it's domestic violence. It's that he's assaulting a woman that he's dating. They don't like that shit in Florida. Florida is not one of these weak ass liberal states.
Good.
No offense to anybody's political leanings, but I'm just going to tell you, the more liberal the state, the softer they are on crime. Florida is a pretty conservative state, and they're very hard on crime, and they like to protect women. They like to protect children. They're constantly making laws. They were the first state to actually push through a law where they'll give you the death penalty if you do bad things to somebody 13 or younger. And they're constantly working on strengthening their laws and making harsher penalties for, stuff against women and kids. They are not going to look at this and be like, okay, well, he seems like a good guy. He's just misunderstood. No, dude, this is a pattern of violence, aggravated violence. So,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we look at, stemming back to Valerie, she's suing him, then the gym thing, and that's also criminal and civil. Now this, obviously, his thing in California. So that's all probably, I think you answered that, but it's all going to be taken into account, I'm assuming, right? If he testifies.
If he gets on the witness stand.
Or on the witness stand, okay.
If he gets on the witness stand, 100%.
Okay.
His defense attorney might be able to keep them from bringing up his past if he just stays quiet and doesn't get on the witness stand. But can you see Wes not trying to defend himself in this situation? No. I can't. He's literally, he has every right to remain silent. I've never seen him do it fucking once, bro.
Me either. It's so sad too, because if we think about it, they've only been together for about a month, a little over a month. And within that time, he has not only battered her, but ruined her. Like, nobody wants to go through this. Nobody wants to have their whole life blasted on the internet. Nobody wants to have people talking about probably the most traumatic event in their life. Nobody wants that. And obviously, I covered it, but I'm just saying, everything that this poor girl has gone through in about a month, I can't even imagine. It's
honestly shocking to me that he hasn't killed a woman yet.
I was just saying that yesterday.
I mean, like, clearly the dude has some serious mommy issues. He wants to be addressed in a specific way, and he wants blowjobs on tap, and he thinks that he's entitled to these things, and that he's doing women a favor by being in their lives, which, there might be some women who would be like, oh my God, muscles and, some appearance of wealth. I know he's got a lot of, he seems to come through a lot of expensive cars and shit like that. I personally think that he's not nearly as loaded as he likes to put on. I think he's one of these lifestyle influencers who does a lot of pomp and circumstance and pretending that he has shit that he really doesn't. I mean, the dude has a purse obsession. He's not going to be able to have that cute little orange purse in prison. He's going to be somebody's tight little pink purse in prison is how it's going to go.
I was dying when you said that in your video today. It was so funny. But is there anything else, JD, that I, haven't asked you that would be good, information to include?
I think that it's really important to keep in mind he's not getting out. Megan, if you're watching this, as of right now, he's not getting out. Don't let anybody intimidate you. Don't let anybody back you down. I know that he projects himself like he's some sort of mob boss. He's not. He's a weak, insecure, scared man. Real men don't do this to women. Real men protect women. He's not sorry. He's not going to change. He will do this again. If not to you, he'll do it to somebody else. Stay strong. You're stronger than you think. I know this is really traumatizing, and it's really been something that nobody should have to go through, sis.
For sure.
But there are a lot of us out there who see you. We have your back. Stay the course with this. This dude doesn't deserve any leeway on this.
No.
He is a repeated violent person who can't control himself. And the next time he could kill you, or he could kill some other unfortunate woman. So you're doing the right thing, and we're all proud of you. We're all in your corner, man.
For sure. That's what I was going to say as well. Like, there's a chance she probably saved, who knows? She could have saved someone's life by reporting this and talking to the police. Like, the next girl, it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to do what she did and to stay the course. And I know obviously it's so much to go through, and especially, I can't even imagine, like, with the whole internet talking about it, talking about you and your relationship, and like I said, the most traumatic day of your life, I would, assume. But, she should at the end of this be really proud of herself because she could have saved somebody's life, and this guy is going to get what he deserves.
And look at it this way: like, she's being a badass, she's being a warrior right now. She's doing what she
Mhm.
needs to do to keep herself and other women safe. And at the end of the day, once this is all said and done, she could very well come out the other side of this being an advocate for
Yeah.
women who are dealing with domestic violence. I know
Mhm.
that she probably didn't want to have her whole life blasted in public, but she could use that not just to have a voice on the internet for herself, but also for others who are going through
Right.
this. You never know who your story is going to resonate with. I know that when I talk about my addiction or me
Mhm.
being sexually assaulted as a child, that reaches people in ways that I never expected it to. And I've had so many people come and tell me, JD, you just sharing your story has helped me. It's changed my life. It's given me the courage to talk about what happened to me, these types of things. It really, she could be a very influential person, and she could
Yeah.
have a much better, much more positive
Yeah.
influence on the internet than what West was having. And that
For
could be a
sure.
net positive for the world. So,
Yeah. And like it takes a warrior to like you're a warrior and she's already shown that she has it in her, she has the strength to, move forward through this. So I do feel like you're right in that she could be a really powerful voice. I'm just proud that she made the decision to report this and press charges. Thank you so much, JD. Oh my gosh, I really appreciate this. It's been so insightful. Thank you.
well, it was an honor and a pleasure to come on. Big fan of your channel and your work. And thank you so much for keeping me up to speed on what was going on. I wouldn't have known about this without your amazing work. So, if you're watching this because you saw me on it, just know that if you're not subbed to Danielle, you are absolutely fucking up.
Thank you so much, JD. Nice talking to you. Have a good night.
You as well.